inky shadows of the cypress swamp, a prehistoric phantom glides, silent as a ghost and deadly as a serpent. Only a slender neck breaks the surface, scanning a world where beauty is a mask for the most ruthless survival instincts. To master the water, he must first conquer the sun, spreading wings like a dark monument against the humid, heavy air. But he is not alone. A partner arrives, signaling the start of a high-stakes gamble in this flooded, unforgiving green cathedral. Together, they weave a fragile fortress of twigs, a cradle suspended over a watery grave where every shadow hides a hungry eye. Every branch is placed with precision, for in this swamp, the slightest structural flaw could mean the end of a legacy. Then, the miracle begins. A pale orb of potential life emerges, carrying the weight of 1,000 years of evolutionary perfection. 4 treasures now lie in the moss, a vulnerable cluster that must be guarded against the relentless hunger of the swamp. The mother becomes a living shield, her body a furnace of devotion, enduring the suffocating heat to keep the future warm. Below, the ancient ruler stirs, yellow eyes locked on the prize above, waiting for the inevitable moment of a single mistake. Night brings no peace, only a silver veil of mist, where every rustle of Spanish moss could be the breath of death. A masked thief creeps through the rot, driven by a primal greed that knows no mercy for the unborn or the weak. He smells the future, his whiskers twitching with the anticipation of a feast, unaware that a mother's fury is already tensed. The snake bird strikes first, a terrifying hiss erupting from the darkness, proving that even the most delicate beauty has a lethal edge. Gravity and fear collide as the intruder falls, swallowed by the black water, leaving the nest victorious but forever under siege. Dawn breaks the tension, but the real work has just begun, as the mother prepares the eggs for their final transformation. She turns them with the precision of a clockmaker, ensuring the sun's warmth reaches every corner of the developing biological machines. Microscopic fractures appear, the sound of calcium snapping under the pressure of a life that refuses to be contained any longer. A small beak hammers against the walls of its prison, fueled by an ancestral drive to breathe the heavy swamp air. The first breath is taken, a fragile victory in a world where the odds of survival are less than 1 in 1,000. Naked and trembling, the newborn collapses into the moss, a raw spark of life that requires constant, unwavering biological support to survive. One by one, the siblings emerge, a chaotic tangle of pink skin and desperate hunger, filling the nest with a new energy. Necks stretched toward the sky, beaks wide and red, a synchronized display of the most basic and powerful instinct. The need to feed, the father returns, a silver prize in his beak, his landing shaking the very foundation of their fragile, high-altitude world. Deep within her throat, the mother prepares a nutrient-rich slurry, a biological alchemy that turns raw fish into the fuel of growth. The chick swallows its first meal, a visible bulge moving down its translucent neck, a testament to its incredible internal engineering. Rivalry is born in the blood. Siblings jostle and shove, proving that even in the cradle, the strongest must always eat first. By day 35, a coat of white down covers them like snow, a soft armor designed to insulate and protect their growing frames. But a shadow falls from the clouds the eagle circles, a reminder that in the open sky, there is nowhere to hide. The mother arches her wings, a feathered fortress that hides her brood from the piercing gaze of the aerial executioner above. Nature's temper flares as a storm rolls in, the sky turning bruised and black, signaling the start of a brutal trial. She stands as a living umbrella, enduring the lashing rain and the roar of thunder to keep her children dry and warm. Beneath her, the chicks find a resolved sanctuary, their white fluff a stark contrast to the wet, dark feathers of their protector. As the clouds part, she shakes off the deluge, a spiral of diamonds flying from her wings, celebrating another victory over the elements. Day 40 arrives, and the chicks find their feet, gripping the twigs with a newfound strength that hints at their predatory future. Their eyes turn emerald, a piercing green that sees through the swamp's deception, marking the awakening of a true master of awareness. The father brings a larger challenge, a sunfish that tests their grip and their resolve, pushing their biological limits to the edge. A feeding frenzy erupts, a chaotic dance of beaks and wings, where only the most aggressive can claim the lioness' share of energy. One chick triumphs, its neck stretching to impossible widths as it forces the heavy prey down, a miracle of biological elasticity. Sated and exhausted, they fall into a deep sleep, their bodies growing even as they dream of the dark waters below. Day 45 falls, rigid black armor erupts. The first true weapons of a future swamp assassin pierce the skin. Conflict turns violent. The nest shrinks. Siblings shove. The struggle for dominance pushes the weakest to the absolute brink. Claws scrape bark, a desperate weight shift. Gravity pulls. The swamp waits for a single, fatal slip into the abyss. Maternal instinct strikes. The mother hauls the fallen back. Survival is earned through grit and a mother's iron grip. They feed like monsters, heads buried deep. Hunger fuels growth. Soon the nest will no longer hold their primal ambition. Day 50, branching begins. One step onto rough bark. One giant leap toward a life of independent, ruthless hunting. Wind tests them. Branches grown, necks stretch. Find the center of gravity or perish in the murky depths below. Below the alligator glides, a silent log of teeth. Scales shimmer. He waits for the wind to deliver his dinner. They see the nightmare. A gaping maw, interlocking teeth. The ultimate end for every biological mistake in this swamp. The father dives. A black bolt of fury. He distracts the beast, buying his children another day of life. They train with vengeance. Wings beat the air. Muscles harden. Building the power required to conquer both sky and sea. Every feather groomed. Every barb aligned. A predator's tools must be perfect to survive the gauntlet of the wetlands. The sun punishes. Throats vibrate. A desperate biological dance to shed the suffocating heat of the midday swamp. The mother brings rain. A fine mist cools their skin, restoring energy for the battles that lie just ahead. Day 60. The cradle ruins. Skeletal sticks fall. The subadults claim the branches, leaving their childhood home behind forever. A jump fails. Claws tear moss. Wings beat. The struggle is raw. The branch barely holds their growing weight. Instinct ignites. A dragonfly zips. The snake neck fires. A biological spring releases with the speed of a lightning strike. Success! The first kill is swallowed. Confidence flows. The young hunter masters the art of the terrestrial strike. Silhouettes against a dying sun. 4 dark sentinels, reflected in golden water. Ready for the final, greatest trial of all. Night brings fire. Lightning illuminates drenched forms. They hunker down against the primal. Howling wind of the storm. Morning mist rises. Ghostly steam signals endurance. Bodies resolved. Hardened by the night's assault, they stand tall. Day 70 transformation complete. Glossy black armor replaces down, revealing the sleek, lethal profile of a master survivor. They fight for sun, shoving and ridding, affirming territory. In this world, space is as valuable as the air. The father brings a final lesson, a barbed catfish, thrashing with lethal intent. Prey that can kill its captor, a feeding frenzy of 5, tug of war over slimy skin. The branch groans under the kinetic, primal energy of hunger. One chick struggles, barbs catch, a life or death puzzle, solved with rhythmic gulps and the sheer will to live. The swallow finishes. The neck undulates, settling the meal. A statuesque master perched high above the dark water. Predatory focus shifts, emerald eyes lock, silver flashes below. The biological spring tenses for the first aquatic strike, but the alligator is a shadow, moving with lethal patience. Unchanged for millions of years, he waits for them. His eye is a mirror of death, reflecting every move. A cold, calculating gaze that waits for the perfect moment. Day 80, the plunge. He nen in GP and falls. A black arrow cutting the air before shattering the green surface. He touches the element. Beak creates ripples, signaling the arrival of a new, underwater biological assassin in the swamp. He grooms with frantic precision, aligning barbs for power, preparing for the speed required to escape the dark depths. Heat haze shimmers. Throats vibrate, a biological machine cooling down after the intense kinetic energy of the first dive. A beetle crawls, the neck coils, the strike is a blur, a resolved biological pose of a hunter reborn. He doesn't just hunt, he strategizes. The beetle is a test of precision, building the mind of a calculated killer. He tosses the prey, catching it with grace, a master of his own biological gravity, proving his dominance over physics. Day 90. The nest is a ghost, reclaimed by the swamp. The family bond dissolves into the cold reality of independence. The mother calls from the water, a low-frequency vibration, guiding her children toward the final stage of their education. Silhouettes of survival, 4 dark guardians, ready to leave the branches and vanish into the murky, green aquatic depths. Day 100, he dives deep, passing through Hornwort, emerald eyes tracking the caustics on the silty, ancient river bottom. He swims like a serpent, head at lun, body submerged. A deceptive ghost moving through lilies with zero surface disturbance. He locks onto minnows, neck coiling. A statuesque hunter in a world of liquid shadows and hidden predatory intent. The strike is absolute. Beak spears prey. Explosive force. A dark red cloud of blood diffuses into the current. Hinangoi Lin. Prize skewered. A triumphant head shake. Water flies as he swallows his first major aquatic kill alone. But the swamp strikes back. The alligator erupts. Jaws snap. A chaotic explosion of foam and ancient predatory rage. He Lun. Heart thumping. Landing high. Processing the narrow margin between a full belly and a grave. He spreads his wings. A living monument. Steam rises, mastering the art of thermal regulation in a hostile world. Microscopic droplets evaporate, pristine plumage restored. Perfect biological engineering allows him to thrive in two different worlds. Day 120. No longer a chick, a master survivor. Emerald eyes flashing with the hard-won wisdom of the deep swamp. He nun Jinki and takes flight, leaving the old world. His shadow moves rapidly across the vast, flooded cypress forest. He perches near a capybara, a silent witness, a resolved biological pose of a creature finally at home in nature. A nutria swims past, Hilo Nengsu Ing, a silent ghost, proving his hunt is now a constant, effortless biological rhythm. Underwater, he spears a massive bass, a final, epic strike, marking his transition into the apex of his own destiny. He swallows the prize under a blood-red sun, neck into, fueled by the energy required for a new life. Day 130. He stands on the highest in Gunancie, tail exfurating, ridding a call that echoes across the horizon. A maid arrives, her orange neck a beacon. They intertwine in a U-shaped dance, renewing the ancient, eternal cycle. The aerial view reveals infinite resilience. 1,000 biological voices merge into a single, majestic swamp symphony of eternal life. In a new nest, a single egg rocks. A tiny pip hole reveals the beak of the next master survivor. He bathed the end toward the sun, a black silhouette vanishing into light. A master survivor in a world without end.